Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. What we have right here is a brand new fitness tracker from Fitbit, and this device is really moving in the opposite direction of pretty much every other fitness band, fitness tracker, sports band, whatever you want to call it. All of these devices like the Mi Band 6 and the Galaxy Fit 2, they're all moving in the same direction. They're all moving to make the price lower, more affordable, for whatever the reason might be. Sometimes they're trying to be a gateway into an ecosystem like the Galaxy Fit, or other times they're just trying to be an affordable fitness tracker. And this right here, the Fitbit Luxe, is doing just the opposite. Rather than taking their already kind of expensive fitness tracker, the Fitbit Inspire, and making it cheaper, they decided to do the opposite. They wanted to make it more expensive and appeal to a more luxurious market. So you can see the design right here is the obvious change there, but they also added a lot of fitness features on here. A lot of things from the Fitbit Sense, which is their flagship device, got brought down to this, including skin temperature and stress tracking. And while I really like a lot about the Fitbit Luxe, there are a few things that you definitely want to know about before you consider buying this. But let's start off with the physical design, because as you can see here, that's one of the main selling points. The premium build quality, the premium aesthetic, and the Fitbit Luxe luxurious design. The first improvement on here over the Fitbit Inspire, which is their other fitness band, is actually the display. This is a full color display. It's AMOLED, it's bright, it's vibrant, and it's detailed, but it's a little bit small. It's actually 0.76 inches, which is substantially smaller than something like the Mi Band 6. However, it's a touchscreen and it has good color, so looking at it, it doesn't look especially bad. As far as the touchscreen goes, the very small size does make it a little bit trickier to navigate the interface. However, over time, I found that I definitely got a lot better at that, and I don't have any issues now. This does not have any buttons on here, so to go home from whatever screen you're on, you just double tap in the middle, and it'll just go right back to your watch face. I found that that works really well. I was skeptical at first, but I had no issues with that, and it turns out you really don't need a button on these things. We don't have that pinch force sensor either, so really double tapping on it is what you're going to have to do. You'll see that on the outside, like I said, no button on here, no microphone on here, nothing on the outside, just a really slim, honestly pretty nice looking design. This one is obviously gold and kind of like a sand band on there. On the back of the device, you'll see the straps are held on with that proprietary Fitbit snap. Honestly, it's pretty easy to use, so I can't complain. And we'll also see the array of sensors, from the Fitbit logo to the heart rate sensor, and I'll talk about sensors in a second. And then below that is our charging nodes, and the charger in here just kind of magnetically snaps onto the back. Again, very easy to use, and the physical design is just so simple that I don't really have much else to say. This is water resistant up to 50 meters, so swimming's no problem. The battery life on here is about 5 days, and that's mostly because we have an AMOLED display here. Otherwise, we might be getting a longer battery life. Now, other than that, like I said, nothing to talk about physically. We'll get into an interface tour in a second, but I want to first talk about some of the sensors and the accuracy from my own testing with this device. So the first thing, as far as sensors go, of course, we have a heart rate sensor on here. We have an accelerometer. That's basic stuff for fitness tracking. You can also measure blood oxygen levels and skin temperature with this, which is not especially common with the more budget-friendly fitness trackers. And you might be wondering, why would you want to do that? Blood oxygen, skin temperature. I mean, one great example would be to measure your sleep and really analyze your sleep better. That's where you'd probably be using those the most. But of course, blood oxygen could be used for a lot of things, from recovery time, your VO2 max if you're working out, and things of that nature. So really nice to have on here. I like seeing that. But unfortunately, what this is lacking is GPS. This doesn't have GPS on here, which means that if you run with your phone, you're fine. It'll use connected GPS. But if you wanted to run without your phone and you were willing to spend $150 on this, then you would be out of luck. Instead, you'd want to buy the Fitbit Charge 4 from last year. As you could probably imagine, that array of sensors can really track a lot with your health. And I found that it really does a pretty decent job. There is one big catch, like really annoying catch that I'll talk about in a second, but you're able to track your breathing rate, your heart rate, your sleep, your stress, your skin temperature, 20 different exercises, and on top of that, you have SmartTrack, which means if you just start running, it'll automatically detect that and it'll start tracking that workout. So as far as tracking goes, really no issues, except, like I said, the one big catch here is that Fitbit's been doing this thing recently, and it really bothers me that they do this, but they're trying to funnel everybody into Fitbit Premium. This comes with a 6-month trial, which is great, and I recommend everyone does the trial because it's free. But after that, you're going to be paying maybe $10 a month or $80 a year to get Fitbit Premium in order to see all of the analytics. There are some things on here that it almost feels like Fitbit's holding them ransom, kind of like you need to pay in order to see everything your watch is capable of measuring. So, for example, finding out more details about your sleep, you can't do without upgrading to Fitbit Premium. I wish they didn't do that, but it's something that they are doing. Before we get into the interface tour, I want to highlight a few of my favorite features on here because a lot of different bands have different features. You might think it's like a slim little basic bare bones device, but the features really can make a big difference. So with this device, we're getting a smart alarm, which is the first thing I really like and I use honestly every day. And what this does is essentially it sets an alarm. If you say, I want to wake up by 7 a.m., it'll track your sleep and it'll wake you up within 30 minutes before 7 a.m. to make sure that you wake up at the perfect time based on your sleep cycle, so you wake up feeling refreshed. You don't need coffee in the morning, you feel a lot better. Maybe that's anecdotal, but at least from my experience, I do like having that. The second thing is Google Fast Pair. Google acquired Fitbit, so the first thing they added was the quick pairing, which means that when you bring this near an Android device, it'll give you a little pop-up and say, do you want to pair with this? It doesn't really make anything that much easier, it just opens the Fitbit app for you, but it's something showing that they are starting to integrate a little bit more with Google. We also have notifications and quick replies if you have an Android phone. If you have an iPhone, which this does still work with iPhones very well, the only drawback there is that you won't have quick replies for text messages. And of course, we have active zone minutes, which is supposed to kind of gamify your workouts and your exercise and give you a simple number to let you know how active you're being and if you're doing what you're supposed to meet the goals that you might have. So with that being said, guys, let's get into the interface tour. Okay, so looking at the interface, you can see that the display honestly is pretty small. If you rotate it in the right light, you can see that. But the way they really managed to make these watch faces hides it very well, in my opinion. If we swipe down from the top, you'll get into some quick settings from Do Not Disturb to Sleep Mode, a screen wake option, turn on the water lock, and you can go into settings, although there's really not a whole lot in settings. You can change a couple things, but if we double tap, that'll bring us back to our home screen. From the home screen, we can swipe up from the bottom, and that tells us basically our day. We're used to seeing that kind of thing in a Fitbit. And of course, it'll tell you things about like your heart rate, your sleep last night, and things of that nature. If we want to go and look at sleep, you can tap on that, but you'll see that nothing really happens there. Instead, we can swipe over from the top, and this will cycle through our different apps. The first one is the notifications we have. As you can see, right now I don't have any notifications, but you could have quick replies there. The second one is our exercises, and we have about 20 different to choose from. We have relax right here. If you want to do a breathing session, you can set an alarm, you can set a countdown or a timer, and that'll bring us back to the home screen here. Of course, you can customize that within the app, and I'll show you the app in a second. Now, taking a look at the app, you can see that it shows us a lot of metrics about how many zone minutes I had, how many steps I had today so far, what my basic health is in general. It gives you a nice snapshot of that. And you can go into health metrics, although this is where you start to see some limitations. So right here, it says right here, we don't see trends without premium. We're gonna be missing out on a couple different things. And a lot of those do take longer to show up anyway, but I recommend if you have this device, you really should be using premium. If we go up to my user right here and we go to the Luxe, we can change some settings here from clock faces. And the clock faces, they have a couple to choose from. As you can see, all of them right here. Just, a lot of really nice looking ones that really accentuate the color and the vibrancy of this display. So I'll just leave this one for now. We can also go to some apps and see what we have on here. Right now, as I said, we really don't have a ton to choose from. So that's really all you have, but you can customize which ones actually to show up on your device. We can go and set reminders to move. We can look at like health and safety or health and wellness reminders. So for example, the zone reminder, when you're running, it'll notify you when you get into cardio zone and when you move from there. So really the apps, like I said, are a big limitation right now. I would like to see music controls on here. I would like to see a remote camera control, but maybe that stuff will come eventually. At least right now, I'm not seeing any of that. And now let's talk a little bit more about the accuracy of this. So for the heart rate accuracy, I tested this on a run next to the Polar H10, a known accurate heart rate strap, and as you can see here, for the most part, it did a pretty decent job. It was slightly lagging, and you can see one part where it was a little bit low, but for the most part, it was where it should have been. Unfortunately, a bad thing about this watch is that the body of it is actually relatively soft. I noticed this while filming B-roll, and as you can see right here, I dropped it just once, and we're already seeing some damage on the one side. So the verdict on the Fitbit Luxe. Honestly, I kind of struggled with this, and I think there's two things that would really eliminate you from wanting to buy this device. The first one is the price. If you are a little more tight on money, or you just don't want to spend $150, then this is not the device for you. Instead, you should absolutely buy the Mi Band 6. And in fact, I have a full review. I'll link it below. You guys can check that out. The second category is anybody that really wants GPS. If you're willing to spend this money and you really want GPS on the device and not connected to your phone, then the Fitbit charge for is going to be the right solution for you. But if those are not main priorities for you, if you have some extra free cash, you're not really worried about that, and really you want to have something that looks nicer and functions better, then this is going to be a fantastic buy. I really like the aesthetic on here. I like the interface. The Fitbit app always works very well. And while you might not have quite as many features as you're seeing on devices like the Galaxy Fit 2 or the Mi Band 6 with regards to things like weather and music controls and remote camera, you're still getting a great array of fitness tracking elements on here, which I think do a pretty decent job. But between the aesthetic on here, the size of it, and that color display in there, I could see this being a very popular device for anybody who has smaller wrists or just really wants to start tracking their fitness without compromising their style. So that's been it. That's my verdict on the Fitbit Luxe. I hope that didn't come across as too vague. I think by now, most of you probably know if you want to buy this device or not, or if you really want to have a good value device that's cheaper and you really don't care about what it looks like, then maybe this wouldn't be it. But if you value fashion over function, it's a pretty solid buy. You guys can leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the Fitbit Luxe. Is this something you would buy? Would you buy it for yourself, for somebody else? And who do you think would really like this device most? As always, if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.